Join the happiness. Admissions open. SRM Ishwari Engineering College.
Good morning to all. I welcome all the participants for the Enhancing Interpersonal Relationship for Teaching Community. The faculties joined from various arts and science college as well as engineering college. I welcome everyone for the faculty development program. Now I invite our HOD, Dr. Sai Kumari, to give the welcome address.
So, very good morning to all of you. I'm happy to welcome each one of you for this webinar on enhancing the interpersonal relationships for all faculty members. First, I take this opportunity to thank our management, our honorable chairman, co-chairman, director, and principal for their continuous support and encouragement, without which this event would not have been possible. I'm happy to welcome the guest speaker of the day, Dr. Maya Ratnasabapathy. Welcome, ma'am. Thank you for accepting our invitation in spite of your busy schedule. I am delighted to welcome the participants from various colleges. I appreciate your interest towards the program. Hope all are at home and safe. Stop worrying about COVID-19 and let us start engaging ourselves in positive activities. We are undergoing enormous stress now, and we need to adapt to the newer technology and should also develop ourselves to the requirement of the current situation. We have to shift to using the newer technology also. So it's I think when we start focusing on the positive activities, that becomes a great de-stressor for all of us. Few words about our department. Like, we have become autonomous now from this year, and we are offering 2 years MBA program affiliated to Anna University, and we give dual specialization also. We have won gold and silver medals that proves our quality of academics, and in association with industry, we focus on bringing in a lot of industry institute interactive activities. So all these activities and the highlights of the departments as well as the details about the placement is given in our website. We also have our own department Facebook and Instagram pages. So you can make a note of the website URL. And now the admission process is also online, entirely online. So if in case any of your students or your friends and relatives are in need of admissions into MBA or engineering, you can complete the entire process online. So coming back to this program, I'm so happy to have you all here, and I kindly request you all to mute the mic so that we avoid the disturbances and proceed with the knowledge share. Thank you for the opportunity, and I think now we'll be displaying the URL on screen. You can make a note of it. Once again, I welcome each one of you for this wonderful webinar session. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we are very proud in introducing our guest, Dr. Maya Ratnasabapathy. I take pleasure in reading the ma'am profile. Ratnasabapathy ma'am has done a PhD in psychology from Indian Institute of Technology and diploma in counseling psychology from Board of Professional Psychology, diploma in business and managerial psychology from Board of Professional Psychology, Master in Psychology from Presidency College, Bachelor of Psychology from Women's Christian College, and research interest in guiding 6 PhD research scholars, research in the areas of educational psychology, social psychology, neurocognitive psychology, and disability studies, and organized various conferences and workshops, and participated in the various conferences and workshops, and also participated in the international conferences, done a lot of research publications in the area of psychology, and written a book chapter on the title Impact of Emotional Intelligence on Self-Regulated Behavior Among Engineering Students, Stress Perspective and its Management. Also got the research funding from MHRD, Government of India, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of Tamil Nadu. Dr. Maya Ratnasabhavati is also a life member, Indian Social Psychology Association, board member, Association of Professional Psychologists, member, Academy of Psychotherapy, and also got lot of awards, gold medalist in MA Psychology from Madras University, Best Faculty Award, Vellore Institute of Technology, Research Award for Funded Project in the year 2016, 2017, 2018 from Vellore Institute of Technology, Research Award for Publication the year 2016, 2017, 2018 from Vellore Institute of Technology. On behalf of the department, we welcome you, ma'am, a great achiever and a great motivator for all the faculty members like us. We welcome you, ma'am, for today's session.
Uh, Good morning to all. I thank you for this opportunity given to me. It's a great pleasure to talk in front of all the learned professors. So here what I'm going to say is nothing new. It is just that we are all grown-ups. We know how to handle our life, handle people around us. This is just like reminding us what we can do and what we cannot do. So here I'm not there to say what you should do, because all of you know what you're doing, and the SRM vision mission, I think, was itself shows what you've been doing so far. So maybe there's very little for me to contribute now, because you people are doing well. Okay, now let me go on to my topic, and my topic is studying about or understanding what is human relationships, or how do you improve human relationship. So first thing, let us try to understand that we are all people who live in a social system, and it is there from dawn of civilization that all of us need to interact with each other. So when we need to interact with each other, why do we interact? How do we interact? We will start discussing one after the other. So here he says, when you're talking about interaction, let us not just think interaction means talking to one another or just communication. So when I do communication, I say oral communication, written communication, body language. So when I say interpersonal relationship, it is beyond transfer of words. It is interaction of two individuals in an environment. When I say it is two individuals, let us stop and understand that these two individuals are unique by themselves, are trying to interact with one another. Each one has their own need. Each one is trying to satisfy his need, and also trying to cater to the demand of the other. So this is what we are going to study. The next thing is, why do we people actually interact? Is there any need for us to interact? Okay, you call me and I agree. Why did I do it? Or why do this? So why do we do it is, first thing is, we interact because for our own personal growth. When we are in a group, we do it because it gives us a sense of security, it gives us a sense of joy, it gives us a kind of our personal emotional needs are fulfilled, and beyond, we get a personal identity. So now when why I'm saying this is, when we are trying to interact with people, it is that not that we are going interacting with others so that their needs are fulfilled. When we are interacting, please understand our needs are also fulfilled. So this is what I want to tell you again and again. So when you're doing something for others, it's not you're doing only for them. In the bargain, there's personal growth for you, the sense of joy, the sense of security, and there's a personal identity that also you face. Okay, now what happens when there is an interrelationship? What are the positive things and negative things? So let us try to find out what are the barriers. There could be three types of barriers. One is the personal barrier, the social barrier, and next one is the interpersonal barrier. So first is the personal barrier. So when one meets each other, what happens is there are a lot of problems The first one is that when you go meet for somebody, first fear is fear of rejection. Is somebody going to reject me? Is somebody going to not like me, not like me for the way I talk, for the way I dress, the way I look? So the first barrier is your personal barrier and fear of rejection. Next, we go on to talk about, next is we fear whether people will respect us. So first is, will they accept us? Then will they respect us? So next, another fear is we have a problem of lacking flexibility. Lacking flexibility meaning we think what we are and how we are is the right thing. We become very rigid in our thinking because we've been successful so far, and if we have failed, we are going to blame it to somebody. So first important thing for interpersonal relationship is the degree of flexibility that you have to have. Next thing is, as all of us know, we are very good in communication, and sometimes we become very ineffective. When I say when you become ineffective, why we become ineffective is the question. We become ineffective because first is you feel insecure. You feel fear of rejection, fear of failure. So these are the reasons when you're not able to communicate. Please understand, we're not because we're not able to communicate, not because we don't have ideas, we are not that we don't have knowledge, but it's the fear of failure that is stopping us. The next thing is, when you meet people, we fear of compatibility. We think, is this the right person? Am I interacting with the right person? What I want to tell you is, we do not know whether it's a right person or not unless we interact with them. One thing that we have to know is, every interaction does not necessarily need to be an interrelationship. Can I repeat it? Every interaction does not lead to become an interrelationship. Next thing is, there is a lack of trust, there's lack of honesty in relationship. So this is very, very important, because we lack trust because maybe we are not confident, or the other party has not proved worthy, or we really do not know. Then again, we have the gender problem. We have problems when we don't know whether we have to get close to them, how much, how far, and all those problems. These are the personal barriers. The next one is the situational barrier. When you talk about the situational barrier, first thing is, in which environment are we? Are we in an environment that is conducive for interrelationships? Is the environment very complex? Is the setting very very time consuming, or whether it has whether it is large distance, and so on and so forth. Next thing is, there is what is known as the socio-cultural barrier. What is a social cultural barrier? That there is a cultural diversity, there is ethnic diversity, social diversity, and language diversity. When I talk about cultural diversity, what I actually mean is, we are all in a group, we are all together, we all are brought up in a particular way, we strongly believe in what we are taught. Very good, fine. Then what happens is, when you come and meet people, there is what is known as a social diversity. First understand, we have to accept social diversity. People are not going to think the way you think. It's impossible. The next thing is language diversity. And what we see, because we are addressing a group of faculty, what we see is, generally we all do it. If you're going to speak of the same language, we get together. Generally, if people are from the same region, we get together. Yes. Why do we do it? Because we feel comfortable with them. Why are we comfortable? Because our likes and dislikes are similar. Good. But now we cannot always be in this comfort zone. We can never be in this comfort zone, because we are out in the world. We have to try to interact with people, try to find out what they are, what they need, and how they are, and what to do. So now we will go on to, I'd like to just tell you few things of my personal perception, and then we'll go on afterwards the next slide. Please understand, if you start judging people, nobody is yours. I repeat, if you start judging people, nobody is yours. But if you understand people, everyone is yours. What I mean is, it is general tendency, maybe as soon as you saw me or whatever it is, you would have made an assumption. You would have said, oh, she's this, she is that, whatever it is. And your expectation may be high or low, or whatever it is. It is fine. But when you're in a group, in a interacting day in and day out, please don't sit on the judgment seat. First and foremost, we don't think that if you're educated, that if you are old or all that, you have the right to do it. No, we do not have the right to do it until we fully know what that person has gone through or is going through. For example, a person comes late. First thing you would say is, why are you late? Whatever it is. We don't even stop and find out and we pass a judgment saying, he's like this, he's like that. No. Did we pause and find out what could be the reason? Why is he doing? Could there be some meaning for his late coming? We never do anything, but we quickly pass the judgment. When we start passing judgment, we stop understanding people. Why? Because you already conceived an idea. There's already a preconceived notion that he is this or she is this. Whereas when you start understanding people, you get to know more about them, and thereby you try to be improve your relationship with each other. Another thing is, develop the habit of understanding will give you a sense of peace and love in your relationship. Please understand. Again, I say the word understand. You have to be understanding. Only then can you develop a cordial relationship. What do you mean by saying understand? It's a very, very nice word, understanding. What it exactly means is, you try to look at the situation through their eyes. Look at the experience through their eyes. What that is being empathetic. How they feel, you think like them, feel like them. Fine. Why do you do that? Because there could be some ideas which we have preconceived notions. Our experience are that. I'm not saying there's no right or wrong behavior. In psychology, the first thing I tell my students is, there's no right or wrong behavior. Everybody has the right to do what they do the way they do. But the point is, when you are coming to a point of interaction with one another, it becomes very, very important that you understand. Another thing is, the ability to hold one's relationship does not depend on the people around you. I repeat, the ability to hold people around you. So when you are in a group, we want to hold on to people or belong to people, be accepted, be a leader. It is not that those people matter, but it depends solely on you. If you want to be a leader, or if you want people to be followers, it's you who have to take the command, or it's you who have to change the behavior. It's you who have to find a way out to deal with them. It all depends on you. So when it's going to be a group experience, it's going to be interaction, first stop and say that it is not them, it is me. Next thing is, any relationship can work without any hindrance if it's for a short period of time. I repeat, everything is fine. Today, I can talk to you, you can talk to me half an hour. Purushottam sir will say, I'm a nice person. Ma'am will say, I'm a nice lady. All fine, because it's just going to be 1 hour discussion. If it's going to be short-lived, then there is no kind of hindrance in a relationship. And when we are in an organization, it is a long period of relationship. That's why this whole meeting is going on, because we are going to see them day in and day out, and it's not going to be easy for you to do it. So what happens is, of every person you interact, you don't have to find or form relationship. I repeat this. See, we are all old. When we were young, we were doing this. Anybody we used to see, and I see few young faculty also. So anybody we see, what do we think? Interaction means interrelationship. Interaction is just that. It's just going to be an interaction between what you say, what you feel. Interrelationship is something more. It's a kind of commitment. It's a kind of feeling. It's a kind of how you go about it is what is interrelationship. The next thing is, then what happens? Suddenly everybody was nice, and then everything, same person becomes a bad person. So what is it is, there are no good or bad people. It is that if you create an unpleasant atmosphere, the same people act nasty. Nothing wrong with them. The environment that was given to them at that given point of time made them behave in a different way. I'm not saying in a wrong way, but that environment provoked them to do what they did. So now what you have to know is you have a choice of what is happening around you is very limited, whereas what you happens within you is under control. I repeat, what happens around you is decided by many factors, but what happens within you is very much under your control. So for example, if people are going to complain and say and blame and say, no, 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 this is how it is, people are like this, just stop and think, no, is there something wrong with me? It doesn't mean to be wrong with you. Is there certain ways that I have to mend? Is there something that I have to change? Because please understand, changing is good, and I always believe change does not necessarily be progress. Change is temporary, change is situation, accordance to situation, and here again, my definition of intelligence, I mean, I've not coined it or patented it. My definition of intelligence is how well you adjust to an ever-changing environment. If you call yourself intelligent with all your IQ scores and all that, I'll stop and say, sir or madam, it is just that how well you adjust shows your intelligence. It really shows your intelligence. Next thing is, and again, you're in a group and you are seeing different type of people. If you want to work with ideal people, meaning the ones who are perfect, then you have to go to heaven. You are never going to find anybody ideal in this world. I'm not ideal, you are not ideal. So we are, none of us are perfect here. So what it is when we are in such a group, if you want something to happen, you have to take an effort. If somebody is going to take an effort, it becomes accidental. It may happen or may not happen. But when you are in charge of the whole situation, then you are very much in control of what you can do. Then what is the meaning of being in a group, working in a group is you understand the limitations and the capabilities of people around you. This is what is most important. What do we do is we appreciate people who are good. It's very nice. It's very, very important part in a interrelationship. Complimenting is a very important thing because it's not only that it makes them happy, you also feel good. You like to get compliments, yes. So should you think you have to give them a compliment? Nothing wrong. They deserve it, you're giving it. It's not just you're saying for the sake of saying, you felt it, you're being honest about what you're saying. So here what I'm trying to say is, try to understand the people's limitations and capabilities. This is very, very, very important. What do we do is, most of the time in interaction, we survive on assumptions. Assumptions are what? They are baseless. Baseless because they have not been tested. We all have done science. They have not been tested, proved, valid or reliable. They are just assumptions. When do they become theories? When they have been proved and when they can replicate. In human behavior, it is such a dynamic thing. It's so difficult even to understand it. So in such a case, how is it that you can come to a conclusion and try to label anybody? Next thing is, understand everybody has some positive and some negatives. This is very common thing that I'm talking. It seems very common, but what do we do is we talk about people's negative things rather than positive things. Because by doing that, please understand, friends, you're not helping him to improve. Not only that, you're not helping him to improve. In the bargain, you're also trying to put him down. See, we are all crossed that stage of competing. We have come to a stage where we are saying we're all growing together. As long as you don't have this, maybe at this stage I'm telling, but there are young people, the earlier you learn, the more comfortable you are in this world. Everybody is together, all of us are surviving, all of us have to work, and let us all grow together. Yes, I understand in an institute, you have paper publications, projects, everything is there, everybody is competing, one will tell, one will not tell, all those games will go. Fine, let it happen. But who deserves will definitely get it. So you have to learn to embrace everybody in an understanding way. Only then a relationship will last. Now, as I told you, you would say, why should there be a relationship? I come, I work and go. Are you going to be happy that way? Are we machines? No. Even if you say orally, inside you feel that somebody should recognize me. As I told you, somebody should tell me I'm good, or somebody should try to help me to improve. Somebody should, I should be of help to somebody. I want to shower some kind words to others. So all these things are basic human needs. So what I'm talking here is not something that you're not doing, not something that's not going to happen again or never happened before. These are the things that are continuously happening and will happen as long as people exist. Next thing is, if you do include everything and everyone, then you'll become an understanding person. When I say everything and everyone, when I say everything about them, their kind of achievements, faults. See, all of us have problems. Please understand. I always say, when somebody says, "Oh, you're this and that," I say, "Boss, if I was given an opportunity, if you were given an opportunity, you would have been better than me." When you start thinking like that, your ego goes down, and you really realize, I got an opportunity, so I did it. If somebody else have got the same opportunity, they would have been better than me. Once you start to think in a positive way, then your life is going to be much, much better. Then you have to enhance your understanding to such a point that when there is a problem, when somebody is behaving in a very erratic way or in a mad way, all that you have to say, okay, this was momentary. He is a nice person, but today he lost his temper. But this is a very important lesson I'm telling you. This I learned through my life. When you are interacting with people, please understand the message should be, I like you, I love you, I care for you, but I did not like what you said or did. You understand? I did not like this behavior of yours, but I like you. For example, a person comes late to class or comes late to office. So the message that should go to the other person is, ma'am hates me because I'm late today. That's not the person in position will convey. The person in position will convey, I like you, but I did not like you coming late. You understand? It's a very, very, very important concept. Meaning to say, you're making yourself comfortable, making the other person comfortable. There's no problem between each other's interaction, and the person is willing to change. This is what is very, very important. This is a big thing. So what happens is, you're not there's no exaggerated kind of reaction, which is happens generally. Then all that you have to say is, all these people are wonderful around you, but sometimes they go crazy. I know it's very easy to say because I'm only lecturing. But when you are in a situation, when things are going haywire, you have no control over it, the first thing is you get angry, you get upset. I want to tell you, when do we all get angry? We get angry when there's nothing under our control. When everything goes out of our control, we get angry. For example, we are taking a class. Suddenly you start shouting because children are talking. Why did they talk? Because you could not keep their attention. I understand 20 minutes is attention span, all that I understand. But the anger is because you could not hold their attention. The anger is because not that they are talking, but you are failed. You get it? We don't stop and think why we are doing what we are doing. There's something called in psychology, we do what is known as being mindful. Being mindful is completely being aware of what you're doing all the time. This is one kind of tapasya, one kind of yoga. Then, next thing is, if you don't understand them, you will lose them. If you do, if you know how to do it and you will be able to handle them, the relationship will remain. So the problem is not with the people, because they were good till yesterday, today they become bad. Why? Nothing wrong with them. How overnight people can change. Only thing, a situation was provoked in such a way that you did not accept. He might have had reasons for behaving that way. I'm not justifying wrong behavior, please understand. All that I'm trying to say is, give a patient hearing, understand why people have to change, give them time to change. Next thing is, human relationship cannot be absolute. This is a very, very important thing that I want to discuss with you. It's not absolute because nothing is perfect. Now, no relationship can be perfect. All of us have a relationship at home, outside, friends, everybody. Aren't there days where there are bad days with the same people whom you love the most? There are days which is bad. Why does it happen? Because our behavior is variable. Similarly, the other person's behavior is also variable. Please learn to conduct yourself on daily basis. I repeat, learn to conduct yourself on daily basis. Meaning, today this is a requirement. This is how I'm going to behave. There is no one kind or one method or only one method to deal with people. Next thing, this is very important. You may do your very best, but the best that you do is not good enough for others. Should I repeat it? You might give your best. You have given your best, and you are and you're disappointed that nobody appreciated. The point is that what you thought was best or the best you gave was not good enough for people around you. So please don't get angry or please don't feel dejected. It is just that they were expecting more, or maybe you have to work up to their expectations, or next thing is they should understand this is the best you have given. And in a relationship, it's nurturing it. It needs a lot of skill, attention, and time. Again, I repeat, any relationship requires a lot of skill. When I say skill, it is not kind of pretending or anything. It's a kind of, it's just like how we are going to take care of a small little, say little puppy or a bundle of emotions. Mean to say you're very careful. Please listen. We say careful, not when you say about things, don't drop it, be careful. Boss, something more important is be careful when you're dealing with people. We have no right to hurt anybody at any cost. First, let us understand that basically. Why should we? Why should we? He is also trying hard. We are also trying hard. When you start practicing this universal love, saying yes, all of us are struggling, all of us are going to grow up, then what happens is there's a lot of positive energy. And then this will, I'll tell you again, when there's positive energy, growth is better. Growth for you and your opponent, the so-called opponent. When there's negative energy, both of you are not progressing. I can give you a guarantee. As long as you say, when somebody does something, feel happy. Okay, come on, he's done it. Appreciate, encourage. Maybe your turn will come next. Why are you in a hurry? Maybe you have not worked enough to get your turn soon. So that kind of, what to say, heart, or that kind of what to say, generosity you should have. Okay, if you're going to punish somebody in a situation, please understand it is actually punishing yourself. In that sense that they have a perception about you. They have a certain kind of assumption that this is what you are, that is what you are, and they have failed. But that doesn't mean to say that you're going to be judgmental. And when you're going to be doing something like that, you have lost their confidence. I repeat, you have lost their confidence. Once you lose somebody's confidence, you are not going to progress together. And another important thing that I want to say, the quality of the relationships that you have with people around you is going to be the quality of your life. Again, I repeat, the quality of relationship that you have with people or your relationship actually determines the quality of life. Understand? So your life depends upon the quality of relationship. And then in every relationship, there is a need that is fulfilled. Every relationship, there is some need that is fulfilled. Some expectations may be unrealistic, some may be really important. Please understand, we are moving with people, interacting with people who have come with different backgrounds. That's what I want to come and tell you. We are meeting people who had different childhood experience, different kind of educational background. Then you talk about their motivation, their situation today. See, when you see a person, no, I always tell my class, children, when I finish my course, one thing I want to know. A person is behaving in a particular way because of hundreds of reasons known to him and unknown to him. If I'm saying something and I'm doing something, I may be conscious of it sometimes, and most of the time I'm not even conscious of what I'm doing. I'm not trying to say you're doing something irrational, but you really don't know why you're doing it. That is not under your control. So when you start thinking like that, then you try to be more understanding. People are looking for understanding people and not merely inclusiveness. You understand what I'm trying to say? It is not that people who just you want to belong to a group or people just want you to belong to a group. That is just being inclusive in a group. You're not going to get anywhere. People are looking for somebody who's going to understand you, who knows your faults, knows your good things, knows how you can improve and how you can go on and on. Okay. Next thing is we are going to say is relationship is again being connected. When I say being connected, we are connected what we think of as external behavior. No, connection is not only behavior, it is through communication and feelings that we connect with one another. So this is what it is, just to give you an introduction about it. And then I thought we will start asking about what are the type of animals in us and how is it that we behave in different situations, just to make it a little lighter than being monotonous using it. So what kind of relationship that we have? Personal relationship is intra-relationship and interpersonal relationship and intrapersonal relationship. When you say intrapersonal relationship, that which is within. So this is what I was going on talking about. What is it is, once you understand your wants, your needs, it's easy for you to understand people around you because you know what you want. For example, I go meet somebody. When I know what I want, then I will know whether I've got what I want. I won't be disappointed or angry. When I go with an assumption, not knowing what I want, whatever they give or they don't give is going to either make you happy or unhappy. So first thing is you should understand yourself, for which we do a lot of things like what we call it as SWOT analysis. I know all of you are MBA teachers. You know what is SWOT analysis. Most important is we do for different organizations, different problems, different products. We fail to do for ourselves. If we do our SWOT analysis, we will be really progressing. Okay. So here is when you say interpersonal, the change at thoughts makes you behave. So it is just for you to see. What happens is when we are changing our thinking, we are changing our behaving. When we are continuously changing our behavior, it becomes habit. And what is a personality? Personality is nothing but a number of traits that are present consistently for over a period of time. Therefore, it is just that your thinking changes to behavior, behavior changes to habit, habit changes to personality, and personality is your destiny. Shall I repeat it faster again? So that it really makes you understand how your thinking is very important. Your thought becomes your behavior becomes your habit becomes your personality, and your personality becomes your destiny. Okay, now let us see how each of us behave in a group and what do we do. Now it's for you. Now it's my work is over. When I show a slide now, you say whether you're this or that and how are we going to change. Are we an ostrich who buries his head in the sand, refuses to surface reality or admit there is a problem? So when we are in groups, we are going to talk about how we are going to enhance this is what I want to talk about is when we are in a group, how do we react in a group? Sometimes what we do is we just don't get into the situation. Rather, we put our head into the sand and refuse to surface reality. What it means is we don't want to admit a problem. We want to deny it. We think this is not going to happen to us. This is not my concern. If I am going to be the HOD, if I am given the responsibility, then I will take it. No, boss, we are all working together. If a department thinks that all our efforts are going to bring success, then something will happen. Please understand, very, very simple. All the time I'll be thinking, I'm working in BIT and when I go there and when I first went there, it's a beautiful campus in Chennai. When I first went there, I enjoyed it. And I said, my God, thank God, okay. In my lifetime, I'm not going to have such a big home of mine, such a big garden, so many things to walk around, so many people to meet. I mean, when I thought of it, and I felt it is mine. When I felt it is mine, I feel I have to give back. The question, if I was to say, oh, this belongs to somebody, this fellow is rich, what, all that's not my concern. I am going to be there for years to enjoy it. When I go with that attitude, I will be able to contribute. Or if I just go there and say, okay, somebody's institute, somebody is doing it, some students going to study, and then what happens? You're just not involving yourself, and you are doing the you are refusing to admit the reality. And here in this concern, when there is a problem, this is the first thing that we do is we withdraw. This is mere symptom of withdrawal. Next one is a giraffe in you, who looks down on others and the program in a general feeling. I am above all this childish nonsense. Boss, there are times when we are children, there are times when we are adults, and we have this TA, parent to child, and sometimes we behave like parents. You behave like an adult, you behave like a child, you behave like a parent. Okay. Now what happens here is, when you are with others, sometimes we feel that we have done something great, we are good. Okay, good feeling, you've done something, feel good. But please understand that when you have done something, it is your responsible to see others also come up in life. That is what is more important. I've done something and I feel I'm above others, and other people are silly and other people are stupid. I feel you are stupid. You're stupid because you've been given an opportunity, you've been given people around you, you have been successful, and come on, your next job is to mentor them. What are you going to do? You've achieved what you wanted. You just have to mentor the people around you. You cannot be snobbish. You cannot say, I am above all this child. Nonsense. Then a tortoise in you, who withdraws from the group, refusing to give his ideas or opinions. We see a lot of this moving in the campus. They say, it's not my problem. I don't want to contribute. Why should I give my opinion? But please understand, this is something which people have to understand. If you're going to contribute positively or negative or with your little wisdom, you are learning. This is what I keep telling my students, and all of us are always learning. We are learners till we die. When you refuse to give your ideas or opinions, what happens? You live with your stupid ideas and opinions, not knowing whether it's right or wrong. Understand it. It's very, 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 very bad for you. If you are having an idea and opinion and you're not sharing with it, you might think you're brilliant, but it could be the stupidest idea that you're going to live lifelong. Whereas, if I'm going to share that idea and not withdraw from the group, then I'll feel much better that I know my opinion was right, my opinion was wrong, I should change, and I will change for the better. Okay, a peacock who's always showing off, competing for attention. See what a fine fellow I am. Super. All of us can be proud, but we cannot be arrogant. Proud to the extent that we have achieved something, but that should not become arrogance. That pride should be momentary. That moment you feel good. It's a feeling goodness rather than feeling proud. Rather than feeling that I have done something. Yes, I have done something. But 1 minute, just think. I always say, when I go around, when I see people and all that, when they say, oh, you've done this, I just say, just that I just stumble and fall on a small stone or a pebble and I get hurt. Okay? And something happens to there's a damage in my brain. Then I'm a vegetable from that day onwards. Can you imagine? What is that to be feeling so proud of yourself? Just a small stumble, just a fall, you become a vegetable the next moment. Understand, people? So there's nothing to feel. You feel good. See, feeling proud and feeling good is different. You feel good for what you've done. Yes, it's nice. You feel good that you've done something, and tell people, did you enjoy that moment? Yes. Why can't others also enjoy that moment? It's people please understand, when something is given to you, this was what I was taught. When something was given to you, it was given because you are given to share it. Please understand that people think when you're given something, it's for hoarding or withholding. No, that's a very, very childish behavior. Children only do it. They hide it, they put it under their frocks, they run away and keep in the room. Okay, and you laugh about it. and say, okay, that is okay. When you're at till the age of 10, you do it, it's okay. But after that, no, you are there, you feel good about something, see that others also enjoy the same moment. A mouse in you who is too timid to speak up on any subject. Yes, again, this is not because that sometimes it was could be of arrogance, but here it is merely that you are too timid to speak. I understand it takes many years for us to talk in public, or it takes many years for us to be convinced of what we are saying. Yes, but let us not be too timid. When you're too timid, what happens? Two things happens. One, you're not getting access to other people's knowledge because you're not interacting with them. Second thing is you're not even sharing what you know. Where is the transference of knowledge? You don't give them, they don't give you. Where is the growth? When there's no transference of knowledge, there is no growth. So please don't think being timid is a very good quality. No, it's not. It is a quality being timid only when you need to. But being timid in a situation where you have to gather knowledge, it's not the place to be. A monkey knew. Okay, that we are, all of us are. Who fools around, chatters a lot, prevents the group from concentrating any serious business. Yes. So what do we do most of the time? I give allowance for this. We get bored, right? We get bored. We want to make noise, shout, scream, talk, laugh. All of us are people. All of us are children within. So we do all that. All that within limits. All that as long as it doesn't affect the whole system. As you know, we all have a purpose. Please have some purpose in life. Short-term goal, long-term goal, immediate goal, realistic goals, achievable goals. Sometimes goals that seem to be unrealistic, but if you struggle, you might get it. So when you have all these things, then you become more serious in life. So who are these people who fool around, chatter? These are the people, I feel sad for them. These are the people who haven't got the grip to the reality of life. These are the people who have not actually understood what they want. I mean, you should sympathize with these people rather than shout at them, say, why are you making noise? What are you shouting? Why are you not making? Boss, they don't know what to do. That's why they're running around and shouting and screaming. They're not going to do unless somebody's going to tell them. It's up to the person who's understood to go tell them and explain to them, boss, listen, this is what it is. We're all together for this. What is it that you can do? Please learn to be inclusive. By being inclusive, actually, you are helping a person to grow. You've grown and it's all over. It's ended. Now let's see others grow. And people like this, see, these people may have a lot of talent, lot of energy. These people, only thing is, need to be channelized. So whose responsibility? Responsibility of the so-called facilitators. Again, when I talk about leaders, we have a lot of problems when talking about leaders, especially people who are in position in a different organization or education organizations. I always try to tell them, you're given that position not to wield power, but you're given the position to facilitate your subordinate, to facilitate people around to achieve the organizational goal and their goal. People think if you are given a position, that means you have to rule. No, you are more responsible to see others perform. You try to facilitate their performance. What happens is, generally this is what happens. When somebody is given a task or given a position, they think that they have to prove to their boss that they are efficient. I'd say don't bother. If they see your subordinate successful, that is the proof. Not trying to prove what you are. If 10 people are under you who are responsible, if 10 of them are able to perform, you have achieved. It's not that one thing that you have done one thing and you make a big issue of it and say, I've done it. That's a small thing. But when 10 people are performing under you, that is a big take home. A cat in you who always is looking for sympathy. It's so difficult for me. It's so difficult for me. So who are these people who are with us? These are the people who lack some self-confidence. These are the people who have low self-esteem. See, please understand, self-esteem and ability is not the same. Self-esteem is how worthy you think you are. But what you are, it could be something different. So these are the cats in you which says, I may not, it's so difficult, I may not be able to do, not that because they're not capable of doing, but because they think they cannot do. Understand? They feel they cannot do. So please understand, we cannot lose such people in the group, because they only think they cannot do it, but they may be able to do it, or they have the capacity to do it. So we cannot ignore these cats in the group. A donkey in you who is very stubborn and will not change his point of view. Uh, we are many times we are this, and it is very natural to be this because we are very convinced with our feeling. What I try to say is, yes, I mean, we can't be changing to everybody to what everybody says. Sabka sunna, dil ka karna. What we are trying to say is, you give a patient hearing to others. See, don't say what I say or do is always right. The point is, you can be stubborn in what you believe in. Sometimes I say, no, I think I have to do it this way. Yes, you have to be very convinced with some logic and some reason, and then do it. Being stubborn for the sake of being stubborn is not worth it. Just because some people we call in psychology as confirmed non-conformist. Who are these confirmed non-conformists? These are the people who think that they should not conform to the group. Non-conformity is the identity. These people are the ones who are actually seeking identity. When you're trying to do a kind of show a negative behavior, you're not joining the group, that very clearly shows that it is more of an attention-seeking behavior. Stop and find out what is it that they need. When somebody is acting in a negative way, it is because they want your attention, because there's something that you haven't recognized in them. This is something that's very important, friends. You please understand that when a person is behaving in a way that is not so encouraging, it is not that he is not good. There is some unfulfilled need in him that you have not recognized. Get it? Therefore, how can he show it? Maybe by saying, okay, I don't care, I will do what I want, you do what you want. So this kind of negative behavior will come. And because of this, he becomes more and more negative and thereby being more and more stubborn. The point is, try to find out the underlying cause rather than the symptom. You understand what I'm trying to say? When you're having a headache or fever, when you're having a fever, what do? We give a Dolo. And we say fever is gone. This is what we're doing most of the time to most of the people. We are not trying to find the cause of the infection. We are only treating the symptom. So this infection is going to remain unless you really treat it. Treat it by what? By giving strong antibiotics or whatever treatment that you have to give. So even in human behavior, this is what it is. Try to find the underlying cause rather than talk superficially of what they did or what they did not. A rabbit is one who runs away as soon as he senses tension, conflict, or an unpleasant job. This may mean quick switching to another topic. Okay. So we have rabbits. We are sometimes rabbits too. So what happens is when something that is provoking tension, conflict, something that unpleasant thing is, first thing we do is avoid. So we have 10 defense mechanism: avoidance, sublimation, denial, reaction formations. A lot of these things that we have. But here, what is it that we are doing here is, when there is a lot of tension, we withdraw. Why do we withdraw? We always say that fellow buckles. Why does he buckle? One thing, maybe he doesn't have the support. So what are you people around doing? Instead of trying to blame him and say he runs away or he's a pussy, what you should do? You should say, come on, what is it that you need? How is it that I can help you to handle the situation? Rather than blame him and say, oh, he's always like this. He's always the one who wants to escape. This is what I'm trying to say. You are only looking at the behavior that he's escaping. You're not stopping to think to find out why he is escaping. Go to the reason for why he is escaping, but we just treat him and say, this is a fellow who is lazy, we label him. But if you're going to sit, spend time, be in a friendly manner, get his confidence, then he'll say, boss, I'm scared to speak in public. Not that I don't want to do the job. Not that I'm afraid of taking long hours of work. I fear talking in public, or I like somebody to support me. I like somebody to lead me. So this was his problem. The problem was not that he did not want to do it. The problem was he wanted to escape it because he did not know how to handle it. Did you get me? Understand? I'm not doing something because not that I don't want to do it, but I don't know how to do it. Get it? The people around are responsible to see them do it. Okay, a lion in you is one who gets in and flights whenever others disagree with his plan or interfere with his desire. So here are these people. Most of them sometimes are leaders. If you agree, you are with me. If you disagree, get lost. Life cannot go like this because there's somebody. You have to report to another boss there. This is a vicious circle. Today I am a boss. Tomorrow I have another boss, and you become a boss later. So understand when there is a kind of disagreement or whatever it happens, one who gets in and flights whenever others. This is escaping. No, let us face it. A snake in you is one who hides and strikes unexpectedly. We know all this. The one who blocks other people from performing. One who charges around, putting his foot in it and upsetting people unnecessarily. So we have a lot of rhinoceros around us. What they do is they try to boss over, mess up the whole thing. They upset the whole system that has been there by trying to bulldoze. Then the frog. Then we have a frog who croaks on and on about the same subject, who sleeps all the time and never puts up his head except to yawn. That means does not contribute. We have such people with one who looks very solemn and pretends to be very wise, always talking in long words and complicated sentences. So these are the people who want to impress people, who want to say I'm great, I'm good, but we really don't know how wise. I can sum up saying smiling is important, promise, only do what you can deliver, dream with your eyes open, I feel with your hearts open, work like as if there's no tomorrow. That's what we are doing. Please understand that you will be calling me for another session for what to do when you're burnt out. I will come and again address you because it's happening to everybody. And the next thing is act while others are still thinking. So be quick. Be quick when you have to take your action. Things will happen.
Yes, ma'am. One last question, ma'am. Dr. Madan Rajan has asked how to handle the few notorious students in the class.
Sir, they are the ones who keep gives us a break, sir, when we are teaching. If they are not there, our life becomes boring, sir. So to answer your question, we need such people also, right? So these notorious people, actually, we should try to find out, as I told you, why are they doing it? It's more an attention-seeking behavior. It's something that they don't have, and they're doing something which will get them the attention. So here, first and foremost, I personally feel, don't rebuke or punish a child in public. You just I have to correct a child, I'll go near the child and tell him, I want to talk to you later. Can you come to me? I don't even tell him loudly in the class, come and meet me. Because he's not going to come and meet you if you're going to tell him in public. I've also counseled in college. He's not going to come to you when you're going to tell it loudly. All that you can tell is in private, please come and meet me. One. Second thing is, he has lost confidence in many people around him. See, a relationship works on two things, boss. One, love, and one, respect. If both are not there, relationships will never exist. So we have to work on those aspects rather than look at it superficially. What will I do if he's shouting in class? What will I do? Why is he doing? Once he starts liking you, will he do the same thing? Once he starts respecting you, will he do the same thing? So where is it that, what is it that you have to do? Do things that will make him respect you, do things that will make him love you, then his behavior will automatically change.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for the 1 hour session with lot of details you have given us. Mainly, a lot of takeaway also for the faculty members, like interacting, understanding each other, listening, questioning, motivating, and having an affection, build a personal relationship. And to have a healthy relationship at the workplace, we require all this skill set. Rightly chosen this particular area and motivated everyone during the lockdown period. So it upskilled us also, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Now I request our HOD, ma'am, to give away the final vote of thanks.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, madam. Thank you for your wonderful speech. And the pictures are also excellent. We were able to associate ourselves with all the animals there. I think most of us are having a zoo within us. Okay. Okay. Even the audience have given wonderful comments. They have thanked you also. It was great meeting you, and so nice of you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. You can leave now, and we will complete the feedback formalities now. I thank all the participants for their wonderful discipline here. You didn't create any disturbance, or we were not asked to. We didn't get such a experience. Only thing is, at the end, some of you are very hasty in getting off from it and wanted to go in for a feedback link. I request you to complete the feedback, and you'll be getting a certificate of participation automatically to your mail ID. Okay. Thank you for your interest towards our program, and I request each one of you to again participate in the further events that we have now. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes.
Join the happiness. Admissions open. SRM Ishwari Engineering College.